The Deal News Podcast, episode 254 for April 17th. GHOUL-gle. I am joined by Lewis and Dan. Hey, fellas.
Hey, everyone.
Hey, guys.
How's it going?
That was very funny. Ghoul.
Yeah, I'm a little curious why the Google.
GHOUL-gle.
Sounds very Halloweenish.
It's a very tortured pun that I'm making.
It is.
Aren't all puns tortured to some extent? So. Before we get to our top news story that led to my horrible GHOUL-gle pun, wanted to go over the big news from last week. And see if we have any follow-up on it. Of course, it was about Facebook Home. Now, initial reviews are coming in. I don't know if you guys have seen on the Google Play Store, but the overwhelming majority of them are like 1 star.
Yeah.
At this point, people are saying that they can't get to their desktop, even though Facebook Home is supposed to be a desktop replacement, and that it just looks like garbage.
Yeah.
Ouch.
So
well, I downloaded it.
Yeah.
And installed it like the day after we talked about it.
Yeah.
And
you still have it?
Oh yeah, I still have it. I thought after like 10 minutes after I downloaded it, I was like, oh hell, get this crap off my phone. And so I sat there. I said, no. I don't want to be reactionary. Let me play with it a little bit. Let me try it out. And so it's still on there. So it's been a little less than a week.
Mm-hmm.
And I absolutely hate it.
Oh, show us some of the screen.
Oh, sure. So basically, what it does is that it just shows like the feed on your wall.
Okay, so that's like you just turned the phone on. You didn't like slide to unlock anything, and so that's just your.
You instantly starting seeing pictures that your friends post.
Absolutely. Now I've got like what do I have? Like 1,800 friends or something.
Holy
like
crap,
that.
that's a lot.
Yeah. Well, I've met 3 of them. So, but yeah, and honestly, like 99% of the stuff that comes through the feed, I don't want to see. Honestly, I don't really care. I don't want to look at your lunch from yesterday. I don't want to see your kid throwing up on the dog. I don't want to see, that kind of
now,
stuff.
Dan, that's all I want to see.
Is it really? Well, I tell you what, I'll send you some of my friends. We'll just have a friend exchange.
Please don't. So show us a little more. I have the camera locked on you, Dan, so no one's going to see us. So you have to.
All right. So here's when the screen's locked, right? So this is my regular wallpaper.
Oh, okay.
So you slide. Let me see. It's so hard to tell with this webcam.
Oh, so it really? Oh, it just went off.
Timed out.
It's like harder than it seems.
Yeah. All right, there it is. Okay.
Right.
Slide to unlock it, and hey, look at that. There's
wow,
all the large photos from my Facebook wall. Now, if you want to do something, you touch the bottom. See the little icon of me right there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Okay. What you do then is you take that and you can move that. Let me see if I can get that up there. There we go. You can either move it all the way up here for your apps. You can move it all the way to one side, and it'll take you directly to your. Well, if I did it right.
Oh. What about chat heads? Have you liked those things?
Dude, I haven't even gotten that far into it. Oh. I've gotten as far into it to know that I just want it off my phone.
That's bad, huh?
Yeah, I just don't like it. I think it feels very intrusive. It feels very forced, and there's no super easy way to get out of it. I mean, if you pull that icon straight up, it'll take you right to all your apps. But I still can't get to my phone. Like if I was in an emergency, if a burglar was trying to kill me, I'd be dead. But at least I could update my status.
That is true. People on Facebook would know.
Right.
Yeah, they would.
So
you take a picture of the burglar as he
Exactly.
So I'm sorry, I just confused myself because I switched the camera so that it would be on you, so that you could show it, and now it's not going back to automatic, and I don't know how to do that.
Oh, so it's all me?
So
the spotlight's on you, Dan.
Yeah, well, no, now I've switched it to myself to ask a question, but it might not be as automatic as I want it to. So if I seem a little distracted for the next couple minutes because I'm trying to figure out how to get this back to normal.
Not a problem.
So my question is how long does it take to get from the unlock screen to your phone to get like to.
Oh my gosh! Well, let's see. So I'm unlocked.
Although I guess that's a question for us all, isn't it?
It's like an extra step. You unlock, you fall into Facebook, and then you have to go into your apps.
You know what? Actually, it's not that bad because I guess the default, which I'm just discovering now as we're doing this, if you go straight up and go to your apps, it immediately takes you to the front page, but it's not your normal phone interface. It's like this screen here. So it's got the phone, it's got the camera, it's got Play Store, Internet, email, and calendar, and contacts right there. So I guess it's not that horrible.
Right.
But it doesn't feel very intuitive. It feels very clunky and.
Well, it's funny because I asked that question before I really realized how long it takes me to get to a dialer. And in fact, I use the dialer so infrequently that I don't have it as one of like my stock apps. So I have to go looking for it, and it like, bothers me every time because how often do I really make a phone call? You know,
right?
Like I'm more of an answering phones type of guy. I'm calling out. You know,
we call that a hermit.
Yeah, pretty much. Chances are, if I want to reach you, I'm gonna like text you or email you. I'm not going to call you. I know.
Right.
Despite evidence to the contrary, I don't like talking to people. 250 podcasts later, I
know. So yeah, on the Dan Leadbetter scale of 1 to 1.5 on this, and I don't give half credits, I will give this a 0.
Whoa! Ouch.
Now, do you think this is something that they will work at and it will become better? Will you give it another chance, or are you saying that you like the stock Android home screen enough?
I guess for me it's like when I open my phone first thing in the morning, right? Like when I get up, have my coffee, and I'm just checking whatever. I just like the ability to pick and choose what I look at instead of having it forced on me.
Right.
I don't really care for the push mechanism that they have on this. I would much rather have an icon that says like Facebook Home, and then if I want to see all those big pictures, then I can swipe through them. Or at least the one thing that this does have is when you unlock that little face icon and go to what is it? I think you go to the right-hand side. It dumps you into the stock Facebook app.
So you could still do it that way.
Yeah, you can, but it's just like an extra step, and it's I don't know. It just feels like. Did any of you ever use Norton Desktop back when like Windows?
Yes.
In the early days, you know what I'm talking about, right? It's like it's a skin that covers, all the crap that's supposed
that you want to get
phone.
to. Right.
Right. Exactly. And with at least with Jelly Bean, and I really love the Jelly Bean, operating system. I really don't want anything covering it up. It just seems like it's bloatware, and it.
Would you then compare Facebook Home kind of to AOL? Now, remember what AOL was, and then once the internet kind of hit, AOL stuck around, and it was kind of like an easy interface for the internet. And so people who were using AOL and liked AOL found that an easy way to continue having a conversation with the internet, I guess, interfacing with the internet.
Right.
Do you think that this would work for someone who is so entrenched in Facebook and might give them an easier way of conversing with their friends through this rather than through the other parts of their phone?
That's a great question, because I was trying to look at this from the standpoint of me first,
right.
and then
as we all
try to,
right.
And then I was sitting there
from your perspective, not each of our perspective.
Right.
I try and think.
I was pretending to be Jeff Somogyi.
Right.
I honestly, if somebody was so entrenched in the Facebook culture, didn't have more than say, like 300 friends, maybe.
Wow, that's a lot of friends.
Well, not. I mean, if you go around and stalk other people's Facebook pages and kind of find out where they're at least from what I've noticed, the norm is around the 300 to 500 mark.
Wow.
So that's the average.
Louis, how many Facebook friends do you have, if you don't mind me asking?
180 about, I think. Definitely over 200.
Okay.
Oh, I thought you stopped at 1. I was a little nervous.
One.
One.
One friend. I have
we're alone.
60.
Oh, okay. Well,
So,
see, you might actually enjoy it then.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
See, but I feel like every time I go to Facebook, I'm like, there's not enough stuff here.
Well, see, that's my problem. There's too much stuff.
Right. I think I would have the exact opposite experience. I would load Facebook Home on and be like, still that picture, huh?
Still that lunch from 3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But you see, I would think that that's what would make it interesting, having a lot of friends, because you're constantly getting like hit with different feeds, different updates and photos, you know?
Right.
If you just have like 60 or if you just have like under 200 or whatnot, it's going to be like, oh, these guys, you know, whereas if you have like 1,000 plus, it's going to be like, oh.
Always something interesting.
There's always something new for you to look at. Yeah. That's how I see it. I don't know.
I mean, like, I'm looking through here and it's like, anyone interested playing poker Saturday night? Thanks, whoever, for a great workout as always. Arrived safe and sound in Dubai. All this stuff. I mean, it's like I would much rather be able to do a fast scroll through the old interface and look for the stuff that I'm super interested in.
Is there a way to filter out those people then? Like,
I'm sure I'd have to go back into like the desktop version and just really get hardcore with it.
Can't you be friends but not follow them or something?
Yeah, I think you.
I think so.
Right.
I think so.
Like that's I would like to do that. Unfollow a lot of people while still following them. You know. So,
I just don't want to hurt anyone's feelings.
Exactly. You know, I want them to think I'm following them. But really, I don't see a thing that they write.
Now look at this. This is interesting. How this pops up. See all the little status updates in the middle. That's actually kind of cool because if there's more than like 4, you can actually scroll through them that way. That's the only thing I like about it. But if you don't have people who actively do status updates, then it's kind of like there's that big picture of that ostrich or whatever it is.
So if your friends do a lot of status updates, does your phone vibrate nonstop all day?
I turned that crap off.
Okay, so you would have to turn it off. Okay.
In the middle of the night, it would go because I mean I've got friends overseas, right? Like we have friends and coworkers in Ireland and such. So 3 in the morning, it's like it's sitting on a wooden nightstand. So
and I have found that all of my apps that I've recently updated have turned on notifications. So that happened to me the other night, and I was like, wait, when did Facebook start notifying me of things? And I looked and everything was turned on with the last update. So I'm assuming when you installed this, Dan, that it turned everything on again for you. It's a convenience for you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks, Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah.
All
right, so
just one quick thing. The app doesn't work on all phones, right? And you have the Galaxy S3, right, Dan?
Yeah.
Did you notice any lag or anything like that?
No.
Or was it smooth?
None at all. That's the one thing I was really, really being conscious about because you know all the nightmare that I had going from Honeycomb to what was it? What was before Honeycomb?
Ice cream sandwich. Gingerbread honeycomb.
When I went from gingerbread to honeycomb on my Droid X, it bogged the whole system down. So when this app came out, I was going, oh, this doesn't look like fun because it was a 17 megabyte download.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah, it was huge, and I'm going, oh, this is going to suck. This is going to be horrible. And I was pleasantly surprised at how clean and streamlined it is in its hostile takeover of my phone environment.
So it's not so much that it's a bad program; it's just not one that does anything that you want.
Yeah,
it's not
honestly, and I'm trying to be of the mindset of that. This is the first iteration of it.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting for Facebook Home Away from Home to come out. so maybe that'll be better.
Yeah. Well, they're gonna be they're supposed to be updating it every month for the next year or so. So maybe it'll be better next month.
I tell you what I'll do. I'll hang out with it for a little while. I won't get rid of it today.
Right. Try chat heads. Let us know how that goes. I don't know.
What is chat heads? Is that the messenger function?
Yeah, they're like those little heads that you could just place wherever you want on your home screen. And
that's kind of creepy.
It is. It is. So I'll let you try that. That's your homework.
Okay.
For next week.
All right.
All right, we've talked about Facebook Home enough, I think. Let's get to the headlining story. It was announced, Google announced that they are taking your death into their own hands.
What?
That makes it sound like they're gunning for you. No, apparently you guys know when someone has untimely passes or whatever, there's a digital footprint left over by people, and so Google has put into this put into effect what they call inactive account manager. So if your account is inactive for a preset period of time, it will then kick over permissions to someone that you grant, so someone that you will your digital life to.
That is a great idea.
Yeah, and other sites do have things like this, but Google is the first one with so many sites in one to do this. So I guess you can set the time for 3, 6, 9, or 12 months, and before it actually kicks over to whatever you want it to do, it'll send you a last ditch attempt to a secondary email address or a text message to your phone saying you still around? Do you really want us? And then if that fails, it'll either pass it over to someone that you have willed your stuff to, or it will just delete your entire account.
Wow.
Yeah.
I kind of like that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a problem that has especially been. It's going to happen more and more as we move to a more and more digital life, right?
Right.
Where there's going to be so many accounts left over, and even ones we forget about. It would be nice to have this on everything, because I'm sure there are hundreds of accounts out there. For instance, have you ever gone to a site that you're pretty sure you didn't go to before, but you try and register your name that you always use, and it's not available, and you're like, was that me?
Yeah.
It's just not. It would have been nice for in that intervening period for it to be look, you haven't been here in 3 months. You're still here, and kick you off or whatever.
Right.
So
now this is an interesting thing, because I've been, over the last 6 months or so, I've been just trying to get my affairs in order. Because I'm not a spring chicken anymore. Not that I'm planning on dying tomorrow, but
have you been getting notes made out of cut out headlines from newspapers or something? Are you worried like that?
I can neither confirm or deny anything like that.
I have to talk to the FBI before I get into that question.
Check and see if that federal injunction's been lifted, or if the witness protection program's been set aside. But and I was thinking about my digital life, and I'm going, man, because I've got a Twitter account, I got Facebook, I do have a Google Plus, even though I hardly ever use it.
I know.
I know. You're lucky we're still friends. I could take you out in a heartbeat. But yeah, I've got all these different social media accounts, and I'm going, man, if I died, are they just going to sit there and linger? So I was actually seriously in my notes of things to do is I'm actually looking to have one of my friends who I would trust be in charge of that, put them in an envelope with all my passwords and say, upon my death, please open this envelope, and leave him $5 or something.
Right. Make sure it's someone you really trust and who will not pull an April Fool's Day prank on you.
Right. That's the thing. It's man, because I would much rather, if I do pass, I would much rather have somebody that has a set of instructions, hey, Dan passed away on December 12th. 2095 or whatever. I'm playing to live a long time. And
it's whoa.
Yeah, exactly.
The robot head of Dan.
So yeah, I wanted to have that information, but wow, if they could not only do their Google stuff, but it would be smart of them to be able to incorporate if you've got I don't know, like your LinkedIn account.
Yeah.
If they could also add that to the list, they could add other blogs,
Facebook, Twitter,
other websites,
and they wouldn't even need to have it integrated. So you say you go to the inactive account manager page and you say do this and this with all my Google stuff, and then there's a notes section that has service, Facebook, login, username, password, and you just enter in all that into a secure account manager on that page, so that if you say leave my Google stuff to my wife, upon inactivity of the account, it sends your wife not only access to all the Google stuff, but just a list of usernames and passwords.
Right.
It could be that superficially integrated, because I think that would really work out well, rather than my wife having to like find the piece of paper that I wrote a login name down on, or or even if I did, chances are I didn't,
Right.
So.
Well, maybe, but that's something that's smart anyway. Along those same lines, it's like, honestly, who would have ever thought that at this period of time we'd have to sit there and go, wow, in my will, I better include a piece of paper that's got my Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn account, all this stuff with passwords and keeping it current, so that somebody can either go in and update it one last time and make it like a digital memorial, or shut the thing down, whatever you prefer.
Right.
Yeah, it's a grim subject, but I think that at least it'll clear up some of the digital cruft that's left over,
See, I don't really fear death. I
what
just
are you reaching for?
Yeah, what do you just reach for?
I don't really fear death.
I don't fear death.
Is it over there, Dan? Is that where it is?
It's my Uzi tactical pen. Wait a minute, I'm going to pierce my skull. No, I don't fear death. I just fear the few seconds right before when it hurts really bad.
Yeah.
So that's my thing.
Grim. All right, let's move on to some other consumer news. This one is about a 4K TV. Louis, tell us what you got on this.
Yeah, so a couple of days ago, a company, I believe it's a Chinese company by the name of Seiki, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right, Seiki, they announced their first 50-inch 4K HD TV, and it's already out now. We posted it as a deal, actually. Available from Tiger Direct for $1,200. So a 50-inch 4K for $1,200 from an off-brand manufacturer. Easily, hands down, the cheapest 4K TV we've seen.
Now, I haven't bought a TV in a while. $1,200 isn't that far outside of a price that you would pay for like a 3D television or a high-end TV these days, right?
It's not that bad.
Right?
It's a little bit over, actually. It's a little bit over. If you were to go for like a standard 50-inch 1080p TV, it's more about $800 or so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
But still, that's what, 800, 9, 10, 11, 12. So it's $400 more, and you're getting
the latest
and greatest.
A ton of pixels.
Even though there's no media that supports it right now.
Right.
Correct.
Yeah. Now that's an interesting thing then. So you can get a new 4K television or Ultra HD television for a fairly good price, all things considered. I mean, let's talk about pricing of other TVs than that. Like when 3D TVs came out, it took them far longer to drop to an obtainable price like this.
Right. So two things happened when 3D TVs first came out. They debuted at around, I think it was $2,200 for a 55-inch brand name one. That's pretty high up there. And then it took 3D TVs 6 months for an off-brand manufacturer to start making them. So the fact that we have off-brand manufacturers making 4K TVs this early in the game is a pretty good sign, because those guys are going to be the ones that force the brand name guys to lower their price.
Right. Didn't the brand name TV just come out as well? Like Sony, right?
There was a super big Samsung. That was the 80-inch for like $40,000 or something like that. Right. And then Sony came out with their 55-inch and 60-inch as well. And I believe the 55-inch started at $5,000, which everyone was like, "Wow, that's expensive." But it was kind of like, that's not so bad. It's
Right.
And now you have Seiki over here coming out, and they're saying like, "Oh, you know what, guys? We have a 50-inch 4K, and we're gonna price it at 12." Actually, it was priced. The MSRP is $1,500. But we already saw a deal for it, which knocks it down to $1,200. So, within a week, even less than a week of it being announced officially, there was already a deal for it. So that's a pretty encouraging sign of deals for 4K TVs.
Do you think
here's my projection? I'll take a stand on this. I mean, we won't be around, but I'll put a stand on it anyway. That by Christmas of this year, we will see those 4K TVs below $900.
Whoa, that's pretty aggressive.
That's what I figure it's our second to last podcast. I can say whatever I want.
Let's take risks.
Apple, let's throw a risk. Apple will buy the United States of America.
Well, I don't know. I don't know. Under $900 over the next 6 months. 12 minus 4 is. That's not that bad, especially if they're being competitive now up front about
Well, that's
it.
what I'm thinking. 1200. If they're firing that shot over the bow,
Right.
my guess is that
You're probably going to see a real off-brand for like a one-timer type price
maybe
around
even this
Black
Seiki.
Friday.
The Seiki might be.
Yeah,
maybe that might be the one that goes in.
Yeah, this one, when they realize that no one really needs 4K right now, and they have enough of these that they could just drop the price to whatever just to liquidate them. Is this indicative of the fact that these panels are easier to create, or what is this? Or is this just indicative of CK or Psyche or CIKE, whoever, like just saying that it's a 4K panel and selling it? Like how are they able to do this? I mean, clearly 3D panels had to be way more expensive when they first came out because they had to retool everything to create these panels in 3D. Are we saying that it's easier to create a panel with more pixels than it is to create a 3D panel? Or
I actually don't know. I know that 3D TVs have that 3D processor in them, and these I don't believe have that. Well, they don't really require it.
Right.
So I'm wondering if it's a case of, you know, it's easier to make 4K TVs than it was to make 3D TVs, or if it's just a case of manufacturers that they're like, hey, we screwed up the launch of 3D. Look, no one bought them. They were sitting around for so long. Let's make sure that people adopt this new 4K technology. Let's start off with realistic prices. So it's almost like the manufacturers learned their lesson, and they're like, you know what? We want 4K. We want people to pick up 4K. So although there isn't any real content out available yet, we're going to price these to move.
Right.
That's
when
how I
is
see it.
content supposed to be available? This
well,
this
Sony
summer?
already has their little PC that comes with 10 movies or something like that.
Right,
which
yeah.
I just found out actually that little computer doesn't work with other TVs. It only works with Sony TVs. Which is
Really?
a big bummer. Yeah.
So they have some sort of like DHCP system, like handshake going on there.
Right, and Sony's the one that's going to have their online video service for 4K. So I'm wondering if their video service will also only work with Sony 4K TVs. That way, Sony's almost creating like a locked environment, like, you know, forcing you to, like, if you know, buy a Sony TV with the 4K technology. So if they go that route, then that leaves everyone else with nothing, really.
Yeah,
I mean,
where would that leave people that buy the Seiki?
A lot of people were saying Suzuki. They're saying
Saki something. I don't know what it is.
They're saying They're saying you could always use it as an inexpensive monitor. And PC gaming goes up to those resolutions. Yeah, inexpensive. PC games go up to those resolutions, so you could use it for that.
That's true.
Otherwise, content-wise, I imagine if you're watching standard def on that, it's going to look pretty horrific.
Yeah, good lord. Can't even imagine.
Unless it has some sort of up conversion thing, but I think at bargain basement prices, they're not really that concerned about putting in those processors to do that.
Right. Maybe the Samsungs and the Panasonics will have that, but definitely not the off-brand ones.
Psyche.
We can up convert to 480p.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We'll make your 480p look like 480i.
481.
That's down converting. All right. Anything else we need to say about 4K TVs? Is it an exciting time? Should we all be rushing out to buy?
See,
them?
I don't know. This is what's killing me right now. I mean, until there's enough content, I'm not going to do anything. I mean, I still haven't. I've been saving up to get a 240, hertz.
Sure.
But
do you watch a lot of sports?
No, not at all.
Yeah. Do you need 240?
I don't know.
Why 240? It's kind of random.
Here's the thing.
I want a 240 hertz TV.
I am like a raccoon when it comes to shiny stuff. It's like I'll just grab it and go wash it in the stream and then take it home. But it's like ever since I saw a side-by-side comparison in Fry's of a 120 versus a 240, it was like, so I stood there. Oh, dude, huge difference. At least from where I was standing.
What were you watching? Like Mission Impossible 3?
No, I think it was like Avatar or something like that.
Yeah, you could probably see a difference with 120 and 240.
Yeah, and then so that it was on a demo loop, right? So they had like that, then they had a picture of like a meadow with a butterfly, and honestly, it was pretty.
It didn't look
doggone impressive.
Too real to you. It didn't look.
That was my big concern when I was watching the demo. I'm going, okay, you know how when you're watching a video game and you can easily discern, you know, how the modelers made it and the skin wrapping and all that.
Yeah.
And so I was watching this and I was really paying close attention to like the foreground, the background, and every point in between. It looked like I was looking out a window.
Yeah.
Like the most perfectly lit yard you could ever possibly get down.
Right.
But at the same time, it was like, wow, that everything is so clear and crisp, and even the stuff in the background, like the tree, it was like you could see the lines in the bark. And
Right.
yeah, it was almost like too much information.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the same problem that people had with the Hobbit movies, is that they look like that. They look too clear, you know? And we're used to our movies looking like they were on film, like grainy film, you know?
Right.
It's just the medium. So to me, it looked out of place. The only time I really like those higher refresh rates are in sports, because it really does like make them stand out.
Yeah, you don't get that slight, ever so
Blur.
slight motion blur.
Yeah. 240. It's just so nice and smooth. It's like you're there, you know. But I don't want to feel like I'm there when I'm watching, you know, Dracula or something, because I get scared of Dracula. No, because it just something, you know, it looks a little off to me, you know.
Yes, HD stands for high def.
Right. And I think that 4K I might have the same problem with as well, you know. Though they say that at these small panel sizes, you're not really getting everything out of 4K that you would on a larger screen. So really, even if we can get a 50-inch, now this is people saying that 50-inch is a small screen. Just listen to that.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, now here's my question: at what screen size do they say is your optimal viewer?
55, I think, is the optimal. 55 and up.
Like the minimum.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's not that far away from 50-inch then.
No, I mean
that's hard to believe.
That's a good 5 inches.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's a good. Yeah, it is a good 5 inches, I guess.
I'm looking at my 50-inch TV that's in the living room, and that's, I mean, an extra 5 inches diagonal isn't going to be that big of a jump.
My A square plus B square equals C square. You're going to have 5 inches. That could be like 50% more land real estate.
I'm gonna have to buy a brand new house. That's all it is.
Right.
To
Yeah. Just knock out a wall so that the TV can stick through the side.
There you go. You know? Perfect. I'll do it.
So yeah, we have a bright HD future to look forward to, I guess.
We do.
All right. Do we have time for one last story? Let's talk about Facebook selling ads for $1 million each. Lewis, you want to?
Yeah. How's that? So, as always, Facebook is looking for different ways to make money off of the website, and they sort of announced that what they're going to start doing this summer, I believe, is they're going to start putting video ads, 15-second video ads, like in between posts, in between your feed, and they reportedly want to sell each 15-second ad for $1 million per 15-second ad. Yeah, I should have said $1 million.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, just one other thing. They are also auto-run, so they will run when you hit the page. And they will also spurt out onto the side panels, because so it's going to be huge ads that spurt out that way onto your side.
Now, do they have any? I'm looking at the article and I don't see anything that there's the option to like shut it off or to click it off.
It's
going to
be an automatic one. It's almost like, you know, have you ever played one of those apps, games that are free, and then sometimes you play it? Like, I think Words with Friends does this. You know, if you have the free version, you play it, and once you finish your turn, it automatically jumps into an ad. Sometimes video, actually.
Oh.
And then you have to wait
You
have to wait like 5 or 10 seconds before you could actually close the video out. I'm guessing that's pretty much what they're going to be doing.
Yeah, but they valued themselves at $1 million for that 15 seconds.
Wow.
Yeah. Although the good news is that Facebook users, they say, will see no more than 3 such ads per day. But with 1 billion users, that's a lot. I mean, for $1 million in front of 1 billion eyes 3 times a day, 3 billion views of an ad for $1 million. I mean, that's 3 billion forced views of an ad.
Right.
I mean, aren't we looking at, this is like Super Bowl numbers, right? As far as ad dollars?
You know what? I don't know.
Because I remember seeing, well, this was, I thought it was like $1 million, or maybe even 3 to 5 million.
Yeah.
For a 1 minute spot.
Right. Yeah, and this is just 15 freaking seconds. You know, so it's like, this is much more
Yeah. Do you think this is going to really impact Facebook in any way? I mean, look at the past ways that they have traversed against our privacy and selling our data. And every time people are like, no, to Facebook, I hate this new Facebook.
Right, right. I'm wondering how people are going to react. Are people going to say, "Screw that! I'm done with Facebook"? Because can you imagine you're looking through your Facebook feed on your small little smartphone, whatever, and all of a sudden a video player pops up.
Oh, that would be insidious. Yeah.
That would be annoying as hell.
Oh, especially and with the new Facebook Home. You open up the new Facebook Home, you slide to unlock, and the first thing you're met with is a Coca-Cola ad for 15
Can you imagine
seconds.
that? You can't even access the phone because you have a 15-second wait for that ad.
That would be terrible. People would hate it. But
well, imagine you pull out your phone and you open it up, and the first thing that pops up is one of those racy Carl's Jr. hamburger commercials. How do you explain that to your wife?
Right.
In church. Honey, it's a hamburger ad, I swear.
Well, I don't know if would they be allowed to do that. There must be a way. If they did it on the phone, there would have to be a way for you to circumvent it. Because what if you pull out your phone and you're going to like call the fire department because your house is on fire?
Oh, right.
And it's well,
wait for the burger commercial.
Yeah, and that's it. Everything I own is gone. So.
Well, I guess you could do emergency mode. Android has emergency mode, right? Or no?
I don't know.
If it is, I haven't found it.
Yeah, like what
I haven't been in that big of an emergency yet.
iOS definitely has it. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Let's see, what do we got here? Well,
yeah,
I guess...
you slide to unlock, and then at the very bottom you choose emergency or
Oh, see, normal. I don't have that.
No, I don't have that.
Really, Android? I could have sworn Android had that.
I don't think so. They might if you have like a unlock panel, but I don't have a password on my phone. Listeners, no stealing my phone. I hate to admit that sometimes because I know people will target me to steal my phone.
That's it. It's just
yeah.
That's really interesting. You know what? Here's what's going to happen. I mean, in all honesty, people will complain about it, and then they'll just get used to it. It's like, what's that Frederick Douglass quote where it says the level of oppression by tyrants is only at the level that people will accept, or something like that. It's like Facebook has done this over and over by changing the timeline, doing this, doing that, updating privacy things and turning everything back on, and people they'll complain for a while, they'll post stuff on their Facebook page, and then they'll
complain about it.
Like I said, the only reaction I think that we're going to get out of this is we're going to see a lot of statuses that are like, I hate these new Facebook ads on Facebook,
Right.
And then that'll be it, and maybe Facebook will tone it down if enough people complain, but overall, I don't know, they got to make money somehow, and that's how they're doing it,
Well, I mean, they'd have to. Don't you think that really what's going to make a difference in something like this is much like Netflix, where if they made a huge change like this and there was such a public outcry that people would actually walk away from the service, that would be, to me, if they're trying to make money and they lose the one thing that's actually going to make the money, which is actually people,
right?
I would think that would be the only way that they would turn that crap off.
Yeah, I mean, but think of the things that they have done in the past to annoy people, and enough people haven't left over it, so they haven't had to change anything. And I don't know if ads are really going to be a thing, because while the ad is playing, you could still look at your Facebook feed. So, it's not going to be that bad, and people are going to just go with it. They'll complain, but they'll get used to it,
So then that makes me wonder, like, what killed MySpace then? Why didn't people put up with that?
There were just new things. I think people wanted to
there were better things. I mean, MySpace was okay for what it was, but it was, I mean, in all honesty, if you really compare the two side by side, even in its earliest form, Facebook just blew it out of the water.
Right? No, definitely. Yeah. So basically, now it's open. Once Facebook starts with those ads, it's open for
for the next social network to come along.
Right. And there's another Mark Zuckerberg in a garage somewhere working on something.
Right. Quick. Yeah, maybe that's what's keeping people around. The fact that there's nothing good to move to. Google Plus. So, all right. We do have to wrap this up. So I want to thank you guys for joining me and being the panel on this wonderful show.
Thanks, Jeff.
Listeners, for links to today's... I have to only make it through 3 more shows.
You can do this.
I can. Listeners, for links to today's stories, video feed, bonus clips, and more, go to our show notes page. Also, feel free to send us feedback to podcast@dealnews.com. I'm Jeff Somogyi. Goodbye.